Hi, my name is Augustine Farinola from the University of Alberta, and today I'll be speaking on the topic AI as a mediator, not source, rethinking information access. This presentation examines what we mean when we say AI gives us information and whether that claim really. Let's start with the basics. Data, information, knowledge. This sequence is familiar. Data must be processed into meaningful information, and only then can it contribute to knowledge. But the key issue is how we define information. Luciano Floridi argues that semantic information requires truth. In his words, false information is like a false policeman, not a policeman at all. Without truth, what we have is not information, but something else entirely. This matters because AI often produces outputs that must be fluent, but not necessarily true. Shannon, by contrast, defines information in technical terms as the reduction of uncertainty in a communication channel. In this framework, truth or meaning is irrelevant. Even misinformation counts as information because it reduces uncertainties for the receiver. So we see two senses or two lenses through which we can view information: semantic versus technical. Think of it this way. The training data is the source. The model is the transmitter, and the output token add a signal, noise in the forms of bias or hallucination, which distorts the transmission. The user is then to receive the signal and must decide whether it is truly information. The distinction between Shannon's and Floridi's definition is not something abstract, but has implication in real life. In 2023, in Method versus Avienance, lawyers relied on ChatGPT-generated case law that turned out to be fabricated. To Floridi, those citations were not information at all, but in Shannon's sense, there were signals transmitted in a channel. So the problem is that the court needs truth, not just signal. In this research, I analyzed 1,191 incidents from the AI incident database to see where AI goes wrong and how. Most of the cases that we have, we find out that hallucination or misinformation was 637, which is a great percentage compared to the others incidents of AI malfunctioning. In those cases, as we can see, the curve climbs through the late 2010s as deployment expands with moderation in recent years. Part of the moderations reflect technical improvements and reporting shifts, but not disappearance of error. We still see harms. They're just changing shape. When we narrow down the data set that we obtained, and we focused on instances of hallucination and misinformation, there's this autonomous or a radical spike that we witnessed in recent years. Even though it might appear as if it's declining due to some of the adjustments or effort made by AI industries to mitigate some of the harms or to reduce instances of hallucination. Let's take a look at efforts that they have made so far. We have the grounding and the post-processing as an approach to mitigate instances of hallucination. Most of the outputs were being checked against curated sources like search engine or knowledge graphs using tools such as Save, FactGenius, or Google Cloud Grounding API. This reduces hallucination, but don't eliminate them. Another major step is retrieval augmented generation, or RAG. Here, a user's query is linked to an external knowledge source before the model generates an answer. Services like Perplexity, AI, and Bing Copilot now cite sources in real time. Peer-reviewed studies shows that RAG can significantly reduce hallucinations rates, but it's not eliminated. We still have several instances of error coming up and misinformation being provided as output. Let's go back a little bit to our theoretical frame. For Floridi, information must be truthful. And why Shannon's, it's just like signals, regardless of truth. So in relation to the large language models, what's their hallucination, they face the Floridians first. And adjustments or improvements that has even been made in recent years to ensure that they get rid of hallucination has failed. The question we might want to ask is, why not go to the sources of information themselves? Why are we using the AI if we are not getting information? The answer lies in speed and scale. AI can scan thousands of documents in seconds, surface pattern and draft hypotheses. Books and journals remain more authoritative sources, but they're slower if we are to embark on slow, what we can say, close reading. So we have AI accelerating the exploration, but we need the humans to validate the results. To conclude this presentation, our recommendation would be to educate the general public that AI does not give information, and to stop treating it as a source of final truth. Instead, to treat it as a heuristic device, a tool for navigating, pre-structuring, or exploring vast data. Humans with trusted sources must remain the arbiter of truth. And when we use these resources in our research, in industry, in various sectors of the society, we must keep this at the back of our mind. In conclusion, AI outputs are best seen as signals, not information in the semantic sense. They are fluently generated, but truth independent. The role of AI is to accelerate discovery, not to guarantee truth. Thank you very much.